Can you believe it? Just a few $1,000,000 and boom, we stopped the law from passing.
It's almost funny how easy it is.
And here's the best part. If people get sick, that's a whole other industry waiting to cash in. Medicine, hospitals, insurance, they all win too.
A couple of well-placed donations, a few dinners, and suddenly...
Oh, but only in the US, of course. Europe, Canada, Japan? Nah, they actually banned this stuff. But here, it's business as usual.
Buddy, we are the system.
This is a barbecue you're not invited to. But don't worry, you're still on the menu. Imagine a smoky backyard, the scent of sizzling. But something feels off. The chefs? Corporate executives in expensive suits, wearing smug smiles. Their aprons? Branded with logos from some of the biggest names in food. But they're not flipping steaks. They're flipping dollar bills, crispy and golden, like they've been slow cooked over a flame of public trust. Smoke rises, filling the air with the scent of profits. And the real kicker? What they're serving isn't steak or ribs, it's you. Let's meet the grill masters. These aren't your neighborhood backyard BBQ enthusiasts. These are the titans of the food industry companies that have shaped what's on our plates for decades. And while many of them have made positive changes over time, history shows us that cost often takes priority over consumer health. Take brominated vegetable oil, BVO, once common in sodas. Scientists linked it to potential nerve damage, and PepsiCo and Coca-Cola both phased it out, but only after consumer pressure. The FDA just officially banned it in 2024, which raises the question, how many other chemicals are still flying under the radar? Imagine grabbing a loaf of bread in the US. You check the label, potassium bromate, azodicarbonamide. Sounds like a chemistry experiment, right? That's because it is. Even though some brands have phased out these additives, others quietly continue using them. Banned in over 30 countries for health concerns, yet still allowed in the US, where regulators remain undecided. Remember the Subway yoga mat chemical scandal in 2014? When the public discovered azodicarbonamide, a substance also used in rubber and yoga mats, was in their bread. Subway eventually removed it, but it took public outrage to make that happen. If companies only change when exposed, what's still lurking in our food today? You pour a bowl of cereal for your kids. Seems innocent enough. Those colourful flakes might come with a side of BHA and BHT preservatives, restricted in multiple countries due to potential cancer risks. What's more interesting? The same companies that sell these cereals in the US offer safer versions in Europe. For example, Cheerios in Europe are free from certain artificial additives, while US versions often still contain them. Why? Because US regulations allow it. If these additives aren't necessary overseas, then why are they still here? In 1992, the FDA acknowledged that red number 3, a dye linked to cancer, should be banned. But it took 33 years for them to finally act. Meanwhile, millions unknowingly consumed it. Now consider the chemicals still in your food. Aspartame, classified as possibly carcinogenic in 2023, but still widely used. BHA and BHT, banned in Europe and Japan, yet found in US cereals. Potassium bromate, banned in 30+ countries but still used in US baked goods. Azodicarbonamide, removed by Subway but still legal. If it took 3 decades to ban a single food dye, how long will it take to remove these? It's easy to assume that if an ingredient were truly dangerous, regulators would ban it. But history tells a different story. In 2023 alone, major food corporations and trade associations spent millions lobbying Congress. Their goal? blocking stricter food safety laws. This isn't speculation, it's public record. Groups like the Grocery Manufacturers Association have consistently pushed back against bans on BHT, potassium bromate, and certain food dyes. Why? Because removing them costs money, and companies have a financial incentive to delay regulations as long as possible. Here's how it works. Many of the same people regulating the food industry were once employed by it. Former executives from Monsanto, Kraft, and General Mills have gone on to hold positions at the FDA and USDA, and vice versa. It's called the revolving door, and it ensures that the rules stay in the industry's favor. For example, the FDA commissioner in 2016 was previously on the board of a major pharmaceutical company tied to agriculture. Key food safety officials have often taken roles as consultants or lobbyists for big food after leaving public office. When your regulators have a vested interest in the industry they're supposed to oversee, can you really trust the system? Meanwhile, consumers pay the price. A study published in 2022 showed that 90% of Americans have traces of endocrine-disrupting chemicals like BPA, commonly found in food packaging, in their blood. These chemicals have been linked to everything from hormonal imbalances to fertility issues and cancer. And here's the kicker. The healthcare industry profits from this. More people getting sick means more demand for treatments, medications, and doctor visits. It's a vicious cycle where no one wins, except the corporations. But here's the thing. People are starting to wake up. Campaigns like Remove Toxic Chemicals and public backlash, think Subway's yoga mat scandal, have forced some companies to change their practices. Yet, the industry fights back harder. For every small win for consumers, there's a new lobbying push to roll back progress. So the question isn't just why these chemicals are still legal, it's whether they'll ever be banned at all. Slow poison. Every day, millions of Americans unknowingly consume chemicals that have been banned in most of the developed world. But here's the thing. These toxins don't make you drop dead overnight. They work slowly, accumulating in your body over years, disrupting hormones, damaging organs, and increasing disease risks. Ever wonder why obesity, diabetes, infertility, and cancer rates are skyrocketing in the United States? It's not just bad luck. The food system plays a major role. What's actually in your food? Let's break it down. Potassium bromate, found in bread, rolls and pizza dough. Linked to cancer in animal studies. Prohibited across multiple regions due to health concerns, but still permitted here. BHA and BHT, used to preserve cereals, chips, and snacks. Classified as possibly carcinogenic by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Azodicarbonamide, ADA, infamous for being in Subway bread, also used to make yoga mats and rubber soles. Banned in most of the world, but still allowed in United States baked goods. Titanium dioxide, found in candy and processed foods, used to make colours look brighter. Recently banned in the EU due to its potential DNA damaging effects. Red 40, yellow 5, and other artificial dyes, linked to hyperactivity in children, yet still common in the United States. And this is just a fraction of the list. Let's connect the dots. Obesity and diabetes. Endocrine disrupting chemicals, or EDCs, interfere with hormones, making it harder for the body to regulate fat storage and blood sugar. Infertility. Studies show that exposure to BPA, phthalates, and other food additives disrupts reproductive health, leading to lower sperm counts and higher miscarriage rates. Cancer. Many of these chemicals, like potassium bromate and BHA, are classified as possible carcinogens, meaning prolonged exposure increases cancer risk. The food industry isn't feeding us, it's poisoning us for profit. Here's where the real trick happens. The United States relies on an outdated safe until proven dangerous model. Instead of banning chemicals until they're proven 100% safe, the FDA allows them unless there's undeniable evidence of harm. And by the time that happens, it's already too late. This is exactly what happened with trans fats. Scientists knew they were dangerous for decades, but food companies fought regulations. It wasn't until 2015 that the FDA finally banned them. How many people suffered health complications in the meantime? The first step is awareness, knowing what's in our food and demanding change. The second step is pressure. Europe changed its policies because people fought back. The third step? Stop playing their game, avoiding processed food, choosing whole ingredients, and supporting companies that refuse to cut corners forces big food to adapt. Because at the end of the day, their biggest fear isn't the FDA, it's an informed public. You can't out-medicate a bad food system. Here's the ugly truth. The food industry makes you sick, and the healthcare industry profits from it. It's no coincidence that the same chemicals linked to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease are the ones the US refuses to ban. And when you get sick, you're funneled into a system that charges the highest medical costs in the world, while keeping you just healthy enough to keep paying. It's a vicious cycle. But here's the thing, you're not powerless. Step 1. Learn what's in your food. Start with ingredient labels, not the front of the package. Avoid foods with BHT, TBHQ, potassium bromate, or azodicarbonamide. If it's banned elsewhere, there's a reason. Watch out for artificial dyes and preservatives, especially in snacks and cereals marketed to kids. If you can't pronounce it, and it sounds like a lab experiment, maybe don't eat it. Simple rule. If it's banned in Europe, why should you eat it? Step 2. Choose what they can't control. The less processed your food, the fewer harmful additives it will have. Shop local. Farmers markets and small producers aren't tied to the same mass production shortcuts. Look for organic, non-GMO options. Yes, it costs more, but your health is worth it. Cook at home when possible. The fewer middlemen between you and your food, the better. It's not about being perfect, it's about cutting down your exposure as much as you can. Step 3. Hit them where it hurts. Big food doesn't care about your health, they care about profit. And the only way they'll change? If their bottom line is threatened. Boycott brands that keep using banned chemicals. They change their formulas in Europe, so they can do it here too. Support companies that refuse to cut corners. Small brands making real food deserve our business. Demand change. Contact lawmakers, sign petitions, and push for stronger food regulations. It took public pressure to get trans fats banned. It can work again. The final truth, the food industry isn't feeding us, it's selling us a slow, profitable decline. And the healthcare industry, they're waiting at the finish line with expensive treatments, knowing full well that prevention was never part of the plan. But now, you see the game, and that makes you dangerous. Because the moment enough people start asking the right questions, the whole system falls apart. Some may call it crazy, we call it curiosity. Every breakthrough starts with someone questioning the unquestionable. What if we're wrong? What if we're right? Stay curious, stay bold, and never stop questioning. Because that's how progress begins. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time on Misty Q Time. We promise it'll be worth it.